Hello, welcome to another video from Yikes Reviews. I'm Cabs here. I wanted to let you guys know I went out yesterday with my sis and saw the Blue Beetle movie, and I want to kind of talk about why this movie hits different, why it's a good movie, why you need to go out and see it. Um, but let's start off with how I feel this movie may fly over people's heads. One, because it's another superhero movie. Two, it's coming right after The Flash. It's in the midst of Barbie, even though it's doing decent against Barbie. I'm not expecting it to beat Barbie anyway, but it's holding its own. And three, just the general look of the film. Some people may identify with it in terms of like the brightness and vibrancy of it. Some people may be turned off to it. It looks too kiddie, looks too cartoonish, what have you. My straight thoughts are I liked the special effects in this movie. They are far and away leagues better than they were in Flash. Um, I think the main power of this movie is to some degree it's narrative, but the most thing that I identified with this movie is his heart. Um, you can tell that everyone involved within this film gave it their all. There are a lot of themes with that people of color, melanated, however you want to call it, Latino, Black, Asian, whoever you are, you will see and you will identify with it. I think a lot of these narratives, a lot of these themes that you see on some reviewers, that it flies over their heads where they feel like the tone is off. Um, there's some things they're just not going to pick up on. Um, I'm not pointing out anybody in particular. I'm just saying that if you are a person of color, you know exactly what's going on. I don't want to spoil too much of the movie away, um, but it's very much akin to movies like The Guyver. Um, if you're a fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, if you're a fan of Kamen Rider, this movie is for you. Um, it takes a lot of its inspiration from The Guyver. There are so many callbacks, the body horror, um, the tone of the film. It all comes back to being inspired by that movie. That movie had, David Hayter, the voice of the original Snake, Mark Hamill, had a lot of great people involved in that movie. Um, and this movie is a love letter. Not only a love letter to the Guyver and Kamen Rider, and a lot of these, um, type of movies, but I feel that, let's just put it this way, this movie deals with being a young individual growing up in today's society, doing everything that you were been told, going to school, not getting in trouble with the law, um, getting good grades, taking care of your family. Um, and then you're expecting that the world is going to not only owe, but just repay you back for all the good things that you've done, all the things that you followed in terms of following the rules and stuff like that. And the hero in this story, he's done that. He's gone to school. He's stayed true to the course. Um, but when he gets back into the real world, when he gets back home from college, things don't quite work out. He's not able to get a job that he wants to help his family. Like I said, I don't want to get too much of the spoilers, but suffice it to say, the main hero thought that he was destined for one thing, and this movie and his calling to be a hero put him on another path. But one of the core tenets that I love about this movie, other than having a lot of heart, is the notion of its family. That you are not you are you are made by those who love you, you know, and those who care for you, and those who support you. Um, like it or not, they may embarrass you at times. They may get on your nerves, um, but you gain strength from your family. Having support in all its forms um, make you stronger. Um, they keep you going on long past the time that you feel you can't. And that, yes, you do have gifts. Yes, you do have abilities to you make you smarter or make you stronger in some certain regards. But you're not alone. And I think Blue Beetle taught me going to this film that yes, you can do everything right and still get screwed in the end. And that's kind of like the hero's journey anyway. If you're a hero, you're not really supposed to have like, I wouldn't say a good ending, but you're supposed to struggle, and that's what this movie kind of highlights. And Jaime, he goes through struggles. Like he was going through struggles before he had the powers, but he really goes through it. And I think I think in Blue Beetle, one of the darkest scenes really got to me. Like I said, I'm not Latino, um, but I can identify, I can empathize. I mean, you'll know the scene when you see it. It definitely hits different, and I thought it was one of the most, even though it doesn't show a lot of violence. I mean, this movie is not like super super violent, and I don't think it needed to be, but the tone of the movie definitely shifts. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if anybody has seen One Punch Man, and all throughout the first couple episodes, One Punch Man is kicking ass and taking names, and it's very lighthearted, very funny, very comedic. And then right when things get really real is when the Sea King shows up, and the whole course of the season just turns on its side. That's kind of how the mood of this movie is. Not to such a degree as One Punch Man, but it's definitely a huge tonal shift. And I can understand, excuse me, I can understand people that are seeing this movie and seeing that huge shift jarring them. And I think that was the intention of the director, that maybe not people having powers and being hunted, but the hunt part is real. um, I won't get into it. I'll stay away from it. What I also want to touch upon, without giving too much away, is how the movie deals with grief, and how one of the characters in the film, right when a huge thing happens within the film, that character says, we don't have time for tears. We'll cry later, but right now we need to do what we need to do. Um, and that means a lot. The reason why I bring this up is people of color, black people, Latino people. I hate to say this, but it's true to some extent. The world really doesn't give a fuck about the feelings, and I don't want to turn this into like a them versus us type of discussion. But a lot of the themes in this movie, a lot of things that might fly over other people's heads, they they hit different to some people. And what I mean by a society doesn't really give a fuck about our feelings is, you know, as long as we're singing, as long as we're dancing, as long as we're cooking and cleaning and doing all the things that are, support or in service or of entertainment, of, you know, of adding some type of value to someone else that they can pull from, not even our pain. not even our pain is our own. And what I mean by that is the things that we use to endure the suffering and endure the pain, whether we do, or whether we rap, or whether we sing, or whether we dance, or whether we play ball, or whether we, hey, hell, go to school and invent, you know, new ways to study the human brain or the body or whatever. Um, Society will take those things and use it for their own. And those who have grieved, you don't really have, and if you're lacking the resources, you don't really have the time, you don't have the space to grieve effectively. And I'll get into this in my next video a little bit deeper, but suffice it to say, you have to work through it. And oftentimes working through it is really detrimental because grief comes back to you in the most unexpected ways. But how this relates to Blue Beetle is his whole mantra is, I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm not that type of person. I don't want to kill anybody. Um, but an event that happens within the movie um, changes his perspective, to the point where everything that he's gone through up to this point, going to school and getting into debt and trying to find a job and not really finding the job that he needs and being tasked with this huge responsibility of being a hero, you know, feeling like he may have let his family down in some way. Um, all that just comes to head in this one moment. And I don't want to get too much into it, but it's it's something that was needed to see. Um, that that vulnerability, that rage, it's a real rage, and it did affect me. It did affect me. But not to harp too much on it. I really like Blue Beetle. I really like the comedy within the movie. I think George Lopez really did a great job. I think everyone, even the grandma, she was fantastic. I actually want to find out more about her story, and those who see the movie, you'll kind of get what I'm trying to say. Um, I really think you should go out and see this movie. It needs to be seen. Please do not think of it as another Flash movie. Yes, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect movie. I'm not expecting perfection. I'm not expecting Oscar caliber performances. What I am expecting is engage me. Give me a reason to watch this movie, other than it being another superhero movie. And I think Jolo and the entire crew, they did it. I think the director, despite everything that they were going through, I think he succeeded in his task. Um, Despite like the strikes, despite not having his cast, support the film, despite not getting a lot of marketing for this film, leading up to this movie, because it doesn't seem like WB was quote unquote behind it for a long time, up until the last couple of weeks, But I hope this movie does really well. I hope you do go and see it. And it's a good movie. You're gonna laugh. Some of you may cry. It's gonna affect everyone differently, but I feel it's definitely a movie that people need to see. Well, I'm gonna keep it short. That's all I got. Like I said, my name is Cabs. You've seen another Yikes Reviews. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. And take care of yourself and take care of each other. All right.